And we're starting with this video I prepared. I totally made this video. Yeah, Lisa's playing The Sims. Very nice. Let's go right in. Cute little... Are you over 18? Otherwise it's weird. But if you're over 18, you're a cute little boy. Next election, AfD majority, you think? I don't know. A lot of the future of Germany now depends on Friedrich Merz. That's what we need to see. I think what the people want, I think what the people really need and want right now is stability. They just want to feel stable. They just want to feel that Germany is on a good path and we're not falling apart.
Because this man you see on the screen, Friedrich Merz, will probably
this
become
video was
the
brought
chancellor of Germany. We will tell you more about him later. On the other hand, we have the real winners of these elections. Or at least, how should I put it? The emotional winners of the elections. Who are these emotional winners?
AfD.
Well, we're talking about two political formations, each of them located at either end of the political spectrum.
The great lady that really wants to help Germany while she's paying taxes in Switzerland, man. You cannot make this up.
The AfD have taken just over 20% of the vote, doubling its 2021 results and becoming the country's second largest political force. And we're talking about a political formation that has become increasingly
Who's that hot lady?
radicalized.
Look, man, never fall for Nazi tits, my friend, okay? They might jiggle in your face, man, but the moment they're done with you, man, they're like, so you want to build a camp somewhere? Never glaze Nazi tits, man.
Then in second place, as emotional winners of the election day, we also have the hard left of Die Linke.
Don't give up, resist fascism, occupy the barricades.
By the way, this lady's nickname is nothing less than the Queen of TikTok. This
She's
formation
doing a
is
great
one
job
of
right now. She's gathering a lot of young people behind her. And I like her a bit. You should always be careful with this Antifa rhetoric of like destroying people's cars and shit in the streets. That's a little bit But this is my opinion. The last party in all of Germany that wants to challenge the status quo of rich versus poor.
Exactly. The young people have turned to them. They have voted for them massively.
I was talking to my MMA trainer and we talked about politics and stuff, and he made a good point that I was totally forgetting. Young people grow out of it. You guys remember when you were 18, man? You were just a fucking maniac, right? Being a weirdo in HOI4, trying to stream snipe TommyKay and having Nazi profile pictures. But then once you're 22, 23, you kind of change a bit. That's a thing you should think about. When we talk about young people, 16 to 24, yeah. It's like me, you get a family, you have to pay tax, and realize taxes are the biggest enemy of the world, man. Taxes are the true enemy. No refugees, no fucking Elon, taxes are the one true enemy. That's what happens when you're about 28 years old.
And take note, because if we add BSW, a Stalinist-style party, then the result is that more than 50...
Imagine this 20 years ago. The right-wing fascists have 20%, the left has 8.5%, and a Stalinistic Putin party almost at 5%. Imagine that 20 fucking years ago.
...of the votes of the youngest have gone
then
to
it's
these
just normal
three
now.
Radical formations. So what does this mean? Social media has completely changed the way politics is done. For example, Die Linke's speeches...
And this is why people like Elon Musk want to own social media. Because of free speech, obviously.
On platforms such as TikTok.
How far left is Die Linke? We could look into deeper stuff, what they really stand for. But Die Linke has a lot of issues. Like, I think they're not very pro-Ukraine. Also, this whole Antifa shit is just ridiculous. Like, that is the most ridiculous shit in the world, man, when they burn private property of other people, man. It's just insanity. But I think what they mostly stand for is of a different model of changing where capitalists take it away from the top 1% and give it back to the others. They're not pro-Putin. I don't think so. No. They're very anti-fascist. And the number one fascist on earth right now is obviously Vladimir Putin.
Parties.
So if Putin is fascist because he wants to invade, was the USSR actually fascist taking over all of Eastern Europe? That's a very, very whataboutism question. First of all, no one can deny anymore that Vladimir Putin's Russia is fascist, legit fascist. You have to always think about how communism and fascism are very, very close. I actually just Googled 2 weeks ago, what even is the difference between communism and fascism? Because I didn't know, I gotta be honest. And they're mostly the same. Dictatorial, right? No opposition, imperialist, always attacking people. The big difference is, what do you guys think? I had to actually Google it, I gotta be honest. What's the main difference of communism and fascism, chat? The worst take you've ever had, Russia is not fascist. Let's see if Russia is fascist at the moment under Vladimir Putin. Okay, fascist, yes or no? Okay, let's take a little look. Dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forced suppression of opposition, even killing them, belief in natural social hierarchy of the oligarchs or the bosses and they decide everything, subordination of individual interests or perceived good of the nation, a strong regimentation of society and the economy. What do you think, Piscor? What do you think? What do you think, man? What do you think? By these rules, Ukraine is fascist too. Alter, you are insane, buddy. You are insane. Dictatorial leader. They have free elections. Volodymyr Zelensky has no elections right now because they're in a state of war. Most nations in the world, even the United States of America, have laws that during real war there is no elections for stability. A great argument even Zelensky brought up is that obviously no one can deny that Russia is massively influencing politics all across Europe. So elections could be very, very devastating. Look at Germany, where 24% of people voted for Vladimir Putin as parties, man. That we even have to do this right now is insanity. And the Ukrainian opposition even agreed on him staying, man. Even agreed on him. Forceful oppression of opposition. Opposition is still free. They still have parliament meetings. They still have votes and talks in parliament. Also, that we even have to go here is insanity. Insanity, man. And that is just insanity. You're ticking yes? Oh, shit, I was ticking yes. It's about the property, exactly. It's about where fascism is about private property. You have the oligarchy, hey, Rheinmetall and Krupp are owning everything. Whereas with communism, it's all state property. The state owns everything. You don't have these industrial conglomerates. But communism, fascism is very, very close, man. And I often feel like in a discussion like this, like you started, Canned Noodle, it doesn't matter if we put a label communist or fascist on someone. If they're bad people that all fill all these definitions, then who cares what they're labeled as? They're still an enemy of mankind.
The CDU has won, but has not gained enough support to remain the single governing party.
By the way, shout out to SSW. You know what that means, chat? In North Germany, there's an area where a lot of Danish people live, and they always vote for a Danish man. So there's the German parliament, and every year there's a guy from, this is some Danish party. This is some Danish shit, and he wins every time, and he represents the Danish needs in North Germany of the Danish population there. He always wins. He's always in there, man. I think that's a beautiful thing, though. I think that's cool.
AfD continues to gain support like crazy. Olaf Scholz's Social Democrats have collapsed. Die Linke's hard left have pulled off a surprise among younger voters. And the Greens are still there, but this time they won't make much of a difference. They're no longer needed. In short, Germany will continue to have a highly fragmented parliament, but this time it would also be much more skewed towards the
Danish
extremes.
guy has more seats
than the FDP. And that's why it's most likely that the new governments to be formed will emerge from a large coalition agreements between the CDU and the Social Democrats.
The party of the Danish minority in Schleswig-Holstein doesn't need 5%. This is because there's a law that says if you're a national minority, you get a seat. And why do gingers not get a seat?
Check out these statements by the man who's going to be the new Chancellor of Germany.
Then on the fourth Liga.
I'm in close contact with many EU prime ministers and heads of state, and for me, it is an absolute priority to strengthen Europe as quickly as possible so that we achieve independence from the USA.
He's saying the right things, man. And I don't want to always be so negative that whoever wins the election, we're always negative. Oh, he's going to change nothing. We got to have a bit of hope. At least we still have a democracy and we don't have fucking Trump and Putin shit going on, man. At least we still have votes like this. Why would you form a coalition with the party that failed the previous government? Because in democracy, you need a thing called a majority of 51%. If the SPD still got enough votes representing what like 15% of the people, they still have a right to govern. Just because you lost 10% of the votes doesn't mean you shouldn't govern. You still got 15% of the votes. You're still representing people.
Germans seem to be increasingly throwing
16%.
themselves into the arms of political forces that are deeply biased towards the extremes. Well, you see, this has a lot to do with what Robin Winkler said not long ago. The chief economist of Deutsche Bank in Germany described the current situation in Germany as nothing less than the most pronounced crisis.
It's a very complex topic, what's happening to Germany, but Germany has always been a big exporter. We always export it. We're getting into a time where people don't want our shit anymore because we're behind. I was reading an article about cars where China doesn't need our cars anymore. They're building their own cars now, right? We have Trump now who's like, fuck that shit, right? And a country that's very, very about export is having problems now. And Germany has to rethink itself. The problem is Germany is very slow. Very slow, like the imperium of mankind, dude.
Economy is not growing. Just look at this graph. In it, we could...
Would you want the 35,000 US troops in Germany to leave? I think no. I think the number one goal should be, if I was the president of Germany, this is what I will try to do rhetorically, but it's impossible with Trump. We need to stay the fuck together. North America and Europe has to stay together. We did since the ending of World War II. We have to come together.
You can see how the German economic engine has completely seized up. Factories are now closing, and industrial production has plummeted by almost 20%.
It's a problem. Germany's all about cars, but no one wants these cars anymore.
Major domestic manufacturers such as the Volkswagen Group are mired in an unprecedented crisis. Since the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the closure of nuclear plants decreed by Angela Merkel, the price of energy has more than tripled. The large migration waves also from the Merkel era have resulted in much higher crime rates. And to top it all off, German infrastructure is falling apart. And we're not just talking about roads, ports and airports, we're also talking about other types of infrastructure that in today's world can also be absolutely critical. Do you
But I kind of still loyal to German cars. German cars are not bad. It's just Asia doesn't need them anymore. And Germany is sleeping. This is a great argument why for example, I'm a green guy. I like green stuff. If you want to sell cars in the next 50 years, you need electric cars. I read an article about this. German car manufacturers are very, very behind. Germany is good at what it does, but it never changes. We always do the same, right? This is our line. But we're now reaching a new world where, oh man, selling these gasoline cars is slowly not going well anymore. And Germany needs to fucking figure out a new way. This is why I'm so green and like to vote Green Party, because I think what Germany could be an expert in and an idol worldwide is green energy, green and development, green technology. What else we're gonna do? What are we gonna sell? We're gonna keep selling these fucking gasoline cars, man, that nobody wants anymore? What the fuck are we gonna fucking sell, dude? You know?
In other words, it seems to be all bad news in
the
Germany.
Greens will not govern
by
CDU.
taxes,
it will be black and red.
Regulations, bad energy decisions with the closure of nuclear plants, along with cotton candy policies from Brussels, are sweeping them away. And logically, to a large extent, all of this explains the results we've seen in these latest elections. The new government is not going to have it easy. It will have to deal with the economic crisis, with the need to rebuild its armed forces, with Donald Trump's constant prodding, with the threat of Vladimir Putin, and with the peace negotiations in Ukraine. At the head of this government will almost certainly be CDU leader Friedrich Merz, a politician with deep pockets, thanks to
history is now going to look at him. Again, this is a very important point in Germany's history, in my opinion. This guy either surprises everyone, 20% chance, or 80% chance is just basic fucking nothing.
And who is popularly known as the anti-Merkel. Not only because he doesn't seem to get along at all with her, but also because he holds very different positions in absolutely crucial areas. For example, Merz has tough positions on immigration. He more or less defends nuclear energy, tax cuts, and even seems to support ending the limit on public debt established in the country's own constitution.
Just sounds good right now.
In other words,
Germany's election winner,
tax cut for the rich are bad ideas. I don't think so. I like it.
Pledges independence from US. I wouldn't have thought I'd have to say something like that, but after Donald Trump's statements, it is clear that the Americans, at least this American government, are largely indifferent to the fate of Europe.
And take note, because the almost certain next German chancellor has said that he's not even sure that NATO has a future. On the one hand, they know that the severing of trade ties with the United States could provoke an economic earthquake in the country. Until now, they thought they could handle it, but now they're not at all sure they can. So they need to find a new path, and they need it urgently.
And that's what I'm afraid of. Every time Germany has to change, it's a very long process. Very slow and
German
long.
Politicians have also realized something else. A large-scale hybrid or conventional warfare attack by Russia against EU territory without US protection could be devastating.
Which I don't... Look, I'm not a fucking war expert, but I never understand this. Russia can barely beat the second poorest country in Europe, man. We're so fucking afraid of Russia. I don't fucking get that. If I was a German chancellor, I will start having a rhetoric of strength and stop being such a bitch, man. I will fucking stand up a bit and be like, dude.
Less and less trusting. And that's why Friedrich Merz is basically saying that now is the time to take the bull by the horns. Either you act quickly, or you run the risk that the economic and political crisis will spread. And in the end, the whole of Europe will fall under the control of
people walking along a wall
with one common characteristic: their sympathy with the Kremlin. What we can now expect from their government seems to fall into roughly 3 case scenarios. First, more leadership in Europe, something that Scholz has lacked in recent years. Second, more military spending to start rebuilding the German armed forces once and for all. And third, a totally new economic policy with more government spending and probably lower taxes. This is basically...
This all sounds good, but will it really happen?
The fact that Friedrich Merz himself comes from the private sector and the productive economy is good news. Even so, Houston, we have a problem. We're talking about Germany, the CDU, and that they're going to need the votes of the Social Democrats. And why do I say that all this is a problem? Well, basically because it was the CDU that created all the problems now facing Germany, a country that has been known for...
Which is why I never understand why it can be pro-Merkel, like Lisa's dad. She brought all this upon us, made us addicted to Russian gas, refugee crisis, turning off nuclear power plants. She did that. She did that, but all the Germans, under her, it was at least stable. Was it? Or are you just stupid?
So between the Social Democrats, lukewarm CDU, and the political stalemate, maybe things won't change that much. But even if
that's what I fear, it's just gonna be nothing. Something that I would like to see in my lifetime is a charismatic pro-democratic Trump. A charismatic leader that isn't for his oligarchic rich friends, but a charismatic leader that's very pro-EU, pro-democracy, and anti-Putin. Problem is that guy is probably gonna... Oh, he killed himself, guys. Oh, he had a car crash. His plane dropped. Hassan Abi video sucked. You only got a German communist streamer to talk. I'm the new Hassan on Twitch. I'm better than Hassan and Asmongold. I will take over now. I will take over Twitch as the number one political streamer. We now have a real European central, democracy-loving streamer now, okay? Come on, guys. This is where, you know, I'm very centrist, right? I'm a very left-wing, but sometimes I'm still a bit of a Nazi, okay? Every time I see a map of Germany, I get sad. We used to be so much better. We could have had so much more GDP. If Hitler just fucking didn't do this bullshit, we could have been so much bigger. So I said that to balance myself a bit, okay? I like how politicians in Germany always look like law professors. If you ever go to law school, everyone in law school looks like this.
Mr. Merz's statements were mostly about the Ukraine-Russia war.
Gucken Sie sich die Bilder an.
And that got my respect. So this was the last debate, I think, before the election. And this is Weidel, which is like straight up Heil Hitler and pro-Russia. And he fucking told her. He made a little speech telling her to shut the up, you piece of shit. And that got my respect a bit.
Und schauen Sie sich die Menschen in der Ukraine an. Sie haben hier gerade einen sehr verräterischen Satz gesagt. Wir würden von Russland nicht mehr als neutral wahrgenommen. Nein, Frau Weidel, wir sind nicht neutral.
That got my respect. It's just words for now, but that got my respect. He's saying, like, we're not neutral, we're pro-Ukraine, you piece of shit.
Germany is one of the most important supporters of Ukraine in Europe and has provided over 11 billion euros in military aid.
Zelensky aged a lot. Buddy, imagine you're leading a country that's under the threat of fucking being annihilated, man. That must be very stressful. And this is something where I respect Zelensky. I know you guys always, oh, Zelensky is so evil and bad. Buddy, who could do that? Show a little tiny bit of respect. Joe Biden said, I'm flying you out. You can take all your money and live in Florida. He's like, no, I'm staying here. And everybody is trying to assassinate you. And he's staying and says, Trump, I'm stepping down if you let us join NATO, bro.
This is more than any other European country. Germany is second only to the United States in its support for Ukraine.
Don't forget, though, in the statistic, the EU as a whole has given more than the US.
He would support Ukraine's full territorial integrity against Russia. In particular, it is known that long-range Taurus missiles will be delivered to you.
Take a look at that shit. That costs so much money. And all it does is go BAM, Alter. Kaboom, Junge.
Findet und zerstört sein Ziel selbstständig.
That's not even that crazy. We're not sending that? That's like a pretty basic rocket. Why are we not sending that?
Ziel selbstständig.
It's not that bad. It's very strong because it has crazy penetration. Okay.
It is already known that Ukraine has long wanted these missiles. The Taurus Key PD-350 is a German-Swedish cruise missile fired from fighter jets with a maximum range of 500 kilometers. It can travel at a maximum speed of around 170
Look how big that is, Alter.
Per hour. And at a height of only 35
fucking
meters.
hell, dude.
This makes it very difficult for radar systems to detect.
I already know, man. I'm a guy that talks to people in public a lot. I always talk to everyone. If you ever meet me IRL, I will ask you questions. Like yesterday, a viewer know me and I just thought talk. And I already know if we send these rockets, I'm going to walk around the neighborhood. I go to the bakery and they're like, oh, this is so evil. Why are we sending rockets? We should make Putin mad.
Germany has reportedly ordered 600 Taurus missiles. These missiles
That's
are
my
enough
taxpayer
to have
money
a
going to the
significant
right
impact
place, man.
against
Let's
Russian
go.
aggression. So German leader Merz could provide Ukraine with the key to victory. How will Merz deal with...
With all the respect, how is 500 rockets like that fixing the war? I don't understand that. In my opinion, Ukraine should do concessions, peace, and then bulk up militarily. This might be dumb or naive. No, you're actually talking very nicely. I mean, the world is complex. The problem is what Ukraine needs is certain guarantees. If we give away the eastern stuff, can we join NATO? Can we join the EU? That's what's important. Ukraine needs something good out of this. It's still very, very sad. You should never give a fascist country any land, which we saw with Sudetenland. But the world is complex. You might not get a very good peace deal here. But if it means we can actually help Ukraine with joining EU or NATO and build them up, and be more ready. The problem is we have to be careful with Russia. What does Russia do? They invade, like Chechnya, wait 10 years. Attack again, wait 10 years. Attack again, wait 10 years. So Russia ain't gonna sleep. What I sometimes wonder is when Putin dies, like of old age, what's gonna happen in Russia? Could you imagine like 20 years Grisha as a high-ranking Russian official, and I'm gonna sit here like scared that a rocket is gonna hit me, dude? The good thing is Grisha still says that he I think there was an interview where he says he likes me. He doesn't like how I think, but he still sees me as someone that helped him. Maybe Grisha one day becomes the president of Russia and can send me some hush money, man. That'd be cool. Grisha, if you're watching this, if you send me 1 million, man, bro, I'm gonna have a Russian flag behind me, okay? I'm actually not. I think I wouldn't sell out for that, but 1 million is a lot.
Trump, for his part, seemed to take solace in the fact that Merz's winning alliance was conservative. Writing on social media,
I think Trump has no idea who won the German election. He's like, who is this guy?
But Merz announced a potentially decisive decision on Trump and put Europe's 80-year alliance with the US in the past. Merz said that the Trump administration does not care about Europe and is allying with Russia. The new leader warned that the continent urgently needs to strengthen its defences and potentially even find a replacement for NATO. On the other hand, Merz will take Germany in a different direction from that of the current Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Last month, Merz, with the support of the far-right Alternative for Germany party, pressed the German parliament for new immigration measures. This was a clear departure from Merkel's Wir schaffen das pledge to accept refugees.
Well,
Friedrich Merz is the opposite of Angela Merkel.
And now she was gone, and now she wrote a book. She wrote a book now, and now she just promotes the book. She's everywhere, and she's shitting on all the politicians. Her book is all about, I did everything correctly, I did nothing wrong, and yeah. Let's calm down with Angela. Maybe it's good that she's gone now. I don't know, man. I might be very wrong. Again, we're all humans, but I'm starting to have hope for Friedrich Merz. I'm hoping in him a bit. But someone in chat said something beautiful. If he succeeds, Germany succeeds. Lovelux is saying another great thing. If the current German chancellor fucks up in these next 4 years, we have a big problem, because people will be even more mad about Germany and vote more AfD. Friedrich Merz and the 4 years he has now are so goddamn crucial. This is not even a joke. It's very serious stuff. You live under AfD rule. I think it's very childish to be like, if Trump wins, I'm leaving the country. I'm not gonna fucking leave, dude, you know? But when it starts that they're like building camps and stuff, maybe I shall try to get my visa to the UK, you know? I think what realistically happened is that all the Germans that voted for the AfD will realize, oh, the AfD is actually fixing nothing, whoa, and then they will lose their mythical status, you know? Would you ever consider joining a political party? I personally believe that we're now getting into a moment in human history where you have to be political. Germany just had the biggest voter turnout since the reunification. You cannot deny it anymore. The world is getting more and more political. Everyone talks about it. Everyone has opinions. It's a big thing. And I talk about this very often on the stream here, that with the literal rise of oligarchy, autocracy, and fascism that is truly happening in the US, Russia, everywhere, 20% Germany, we're reaching a point where every single individual in Europe and North America, including you, my dear viewer, has to make a decision. Do you want to be on the sidelines and just watch and just live your life, or do you actually, maybe in this one lifetime you have, do something? I mean, I'm obviously making a stand here on the stream, right? Putting myself in a cross line and losing followers that don't like what I'm saying. I think we're slowly getting into a world where people have to maybe become active and start thinking that being on the sidelines might lead to Mr. Elon Musk having all the data of the US Treasury and doing what he wants.
Conservative Party is structurally a little bit stronger than the Social Democratic Party in Germany. Most of the years have been with conservative chancellors, and at very specific times.
Oh, wow, look at the difference in that vote. Olaf Scholz really fucked up, huh? Everyone believed in the SPD and he fucked them all in the ass for 3 years. That fucking bitch. And still he sits in talk shows now. I watch these political talk shows and he's always sitting there. I did nothing wrong, bro. It's all the other people's fault. It's fucking ridiculous, dude.
But Olaf Scholz also had a very difficult time in government. He was working in a complex coalition with 2 partners, so 3 partners in total, and very different policy approaches. The energy crisis hit Germany very hard, because gas prices were going up so much, and Germany was obviously very dependent on Russian gas. Germany saw a lot of inflation and
it arrives in
turmoil.
Greifswald, okay.
This obviously resulted in the population losing confidence in the government.
And a lot of you viewers don't know this if you're not German, but this guy, the Chancellor of Germany, who's now gone, has massive scandals, man. You can Google this stuff. This guy has fucked German people over in the Wirecard and Cum-Ex scandals. They were doing hearings with him, and he said, I remember nothing. Fucking over taxpayers, over so much money, man. In Germany, we call him, I can't remember, Olaf.
Germany has seen many attacks by migrants in the last 12 months, and the population really wants change. What does a Merz-led Germany mean?
And that's the thing where I maybe am a bit more conservative, a centrist Tommy, is if most the population wants a change in immigration, then it needs to happen. That doesn't mean that talking like this makes me a right-wing fascist or AfD lover. If most people want a change in immigration, like over 50%, then that's democracy. Sorry, left-wing people. That is just the world. The Danish left did this. They fixed immigration and destroyed the far right. Merz could destroy the AfD by fixing immigration a bit. This is my representation of German political streamers.
Has taken a warmer stance on nuclear power than Scholz, who is challenging a long-standing German taboo around atomic energy. Merz, who wants to take a stronger stance against Russia and China.
Wait, since when is China going that far west? What the fuck? Oh, that's not the real one. That's one of the clones, I think. Was that the Finnish leader girl? I remember, man. All the leaders of Europe have massive scandals. Wirecard, Cum-Ex, Macron is helping the rich. Everyone is fucking terrible. But she did a party with friends during Corona. How dare fire that woman. She had to step down instantly, bro. Again, all of this is a lot of yapping. We will have to see what really will happen in this new German government. This is why I always talk on the stream that I'm really against single leadership anymore. The whole fucking future of Europe is in this guy's hand. No, it doesn't matter who he is. I always think things like this shouldn't be in any human's hand.
Financial markets are generally skeptical that Merz can do much to halt Germany's well-documented economic decline, with gross domestic product expected to contract by 0.5% in 2025.
To be honest though, statistically speaking, Germany has now been negatively growing for 3 years, which is unprecedented in German's history. And it would be very easy to get that plus again. He just needs 1% growth. And he already is like, hey, under me, Germany is growing again by 0.6%. GDP and all that shit is a bit of a lie. It's a bit of bullshit, man. You know, I live in Germany. We're all doing fine. When stocks go down, when GDP doesn't grow by 0, who the fuck loses money? It's the fucking rich. They're always acting like, oh my god, the fucking stock market went down by 5%. What? So what? You can still buy bread. It's not you. It's not like you have $1 billion in stocks, bro. They always act like, oh my god, man, we're not fucking growing anymore. This man, I respect this man a lot. He always is under a lot of scrutiny. Always, oh, he's so evil. Long story short, this guy is the Jon Stewart of Germany. He has a TV show, and that TV show is all about exposing stuff. His TV show is, he has always a topic. He was invited to the Washington Journal or New York Times to tell Americans about what's going on in Germany. I haven't seen this yet. It was very big in Germany, very big news.
Guten Tag from Germany, the country that needs saving, according to Elon Musk. We are Germans. We are good at inventing long, complicated words, and we are really cool and relaxed. There's something else we Germans were really good at. Inventing Nazis. Germany may have lost 1 or 2 world wars, but we successfully turned it into a win. And we became Vergangenheitsbewältigungsweltmeister. We are world champions at confronting our history. A title we've held for 80 years in a row. We won this title by virtue signaling. Living in Germany means being constantly reminded of our past. Every day, 24/7, for now 80 years, we've been telling ourselves, never again. Remembrance of the Holocaust is everywhere in Germany.
I always forget this, and I'm kind of sorry. I promised you guys an RL stream 2 years ago where I walk around my neighborhood and you won't believe how many Jews died here. There's a thing in Germany where we have golden stones about Jews that used to live in that building and how they died, and they're everywhere. And I want to like walk around with you guys and show you. So it's kind of crazy, man. You go shopping and you have like a cola and you look on the ground and there's a golden stone, and it's like a 6-year-old Jewish girl got abducted here. And it's like, whoa, okay, that happened here.
Memorials.
Yeah, that's everywhere where I live. Everywhere. It's like in this house was a Jewish family and they all got fucking and it's like a reminder. And dude, sometimes there's like little kids and shit. It's fucked up, dude. Very fucked up.
Our German extreme right party, the AfD, is projected to win almost every 5th vote in our national election this February. Here is what one of the AfD's leading figures thinks of German never again.
Wir brauchen nichts anderes als eine erinnerungspolitische Wende 180 Grad.
I know it's subtle, but AfD's Björn Höcke might sound a bit Hitleresque, which is French for slightly concerning. Höcke recently won a state election in Eastern Germany, securing the first far-right win in a state election since World War II. He, by the way, can legally be called a fascist, as the German court has ruled in one case.
That man wins elections in a state. He won the election, man. Think about that.
The AfD was founded in 2013, and it primarily opposed EU policies. Then it quickly radicalized anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim, anti-migrant, anti-establishment, anti-mainstream media. The AfD worked and works the authoritarian playbook. And now they are twisting the truth by hijacking our world-renowned, beautiful German language. Vogelschiss in der Geschichte. The Holocaust was just a speck of birdshit in our overall successful history. When Elon Musk, the man who would never salute Nazis, recently interviewed AfD's chairwoman Alice Weidel on X, she gave another vibrant example on how AfD mastered blatant truth-twisting.
The biggest success after that terrible era in our history was to label Adolf Hitler as right and conservative.
Jesus fucking Christ, man. Fucking Jesus Christ. My point lately on the stream is very often, are we reaching a point where everyone is on the same board? Are we reaching a point where you can't argue anymore?
He was a communist, socialist guy.
Why not try a 180?
And she won 20% of the votes. It's like the experiment of democracy is falling apart in front of us.
These obvious little rhetorical tricks are actually effective, thanks to one special German way to cope with our past. Geschichtsvergessenheit means actively forgetting our, let me put it this way, ambiguous past.
One thing I experience and see for the last maybe 5 years or something, we have so many people doing such a great job exposing the AfD, showing what is the problem with this right-wing extremist populism. We have people in the US exposing Trump with massive proof. This is what Trump is doing. Here's the proof. Yet, no one cares. It doesn't help at all. They still win elections, they still grow.
Why are we Germans so blatantly dismissive towards the collective affection for the far right? Partly because in Germany there's a discrepancy between collective memory and individual guilt. We acknowledge our grim past, never again, yada yada yada, but our ancestors, like personally, our families, ourselves, we had nothing to do with it whatsoever. My great-grandfather was in the Waffen-SS.
Wow. It's funny that some months ago we found out live on the stream that my grandpa was an evil too, man. Literally, Twitch chat showed me that day. They found information about my grandpa, man. That was crazy, dude.
Germans have sworn to never again so many times that it became an empty phrase. And when a new right-wing leader calls for a 180-degree turnaround on never again, we also don't take it seriously because it somehow feels empty as well.
I'm a Jew. I think you're trying to say you're Jew. And I'm genuinely curious to know, do people around the world really blame us for everything that happens in Europe and the rest of the world? I think what the human race has shown for the entirety of the history is that you always look for scapegoats. You always look for someone to blame because it easily makes people rally behind you. You win elections. You see that everywhere, man, right? Immigrants, Jews, whatever. You can really see historically, if you look at the Jews through Europe and their history, the Jews were faring better. They were better financially, they were more educated on average, and they just made better decisions, which led to them, I think, having like some of the first banks and stuff back then. And obviously people will be like, oh, that guy must be evil, right? And so you had a scapegoat, man. You always find a scapegoat. If the Jews are gone, if the immigrants are gone, they will find someone else.
We aren't Nazis. We just don't fully support liberty, equality, and the rule of law. We aren't Nazis. We just want white supremacy. The AfD is not the new Nazi party. They just want Germany to be great again.
I think that's enough from Europe.